Hey fam, welcome back. It is your favorite life and relationship strategist, MarshaunO, and we are talking about forgiveness. We are talking about saying I'm sorry. We are talking about why it is essential to say I'm sorry. So you know what? I know that I talked about this a little while ago, but me and my husband were going through something and it was a misunderstanding. I talked about it in 2 different videos, and shameless plug, go back and watch those 2 videos after this one. But yes, saying I'm sorry is essential because it really does start the healing process. Saying I'm sorry is essential because it starts the healing process. As I already mentioned before, me and my husband, he was giving me the silent treatment. Actually, oops. Actually, I should have said we were giving each other the silent treatment. Oops, told on hubby. Anyway, so let's be real. He was giving me the silent treatment. It lasted longer than I felt that it should have lasted. But after we got through that silent treatment, the first thing he said was, I'm sorry. And saying I'm sorry really is essential because it let me know, you know what? He was able to let down his guard. He's able to actually see the error in his ways. Of course, we had to discuss what was going on, why I was a misunderstanding, why he needed to say I'm sorry. And I didn't even have to prompt him to say, where's my apology? Like, it wasn't nothing like that. It was just like, after we talked about it, we seen that it was a misunderstanding. I was trying to talk to him. He wasn't receptive of me trying to talk to him, and he was like, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything. And then we had a further discussion, but really it started the healing process to us getting back together, to us coming back together, to the connection starting to build once again. So whenever you are down, whenever you are out, whenever you are wrong, you do have to say, I'm sorry. It does not matter. Once you really figure out the error of your ways, once you figure out what went wrong, why things went down the way that they went down, and then you get a better understanding, because a lot of times we're all up in our head and we think that it's all about us, and we're thinking about our feelings and the way that we're going to receive things, and oh, it didn't go our way, and so I need to treat you a certain type of way because it's not going my way. It's not going the way that I feel that it should be going. This should be over faster. And so because we're all up in our heads, saying I'm sorry is the death. It really can be the death of so many relationships. And because you are, at least in my case, there was silence going on. Silence always breaks the connection. It always breaks the love down. It doesn't bring you two together. So the longer you are being silent, in that example, but the longer you are being mad at your spouse, the longer you guys are not talking, the longer you are not on one accord, the longer it is going to take to rebuild the connection back up. So anytime you are feeling like, damn it, this is taking too long, or why, go break the ice. Go and have the conversation, because you're going to start the healing process in your relationship. Another thing that saying I'm sorry does, it eases the pain and the tension within your relationship, within the room, within the environment. Just think about it. Anytime, okay, say for instance, you went over to your friend's house, they invited you and your boo over there, but when you got over there, the air was thick, right? We've heard that saying before. The air was thick. We could feel the tension when I walked in the room. That is exactly what is there, which is why you're feeling it, and it's all because nobody has apologized. Or you tried to apologize, but your partner, your spouse, is not ready to go down that road with you as of yet. For whatever reason, I am a true believer that you should get it over with as soon as possible, to get back to the love, and to get back to the laughter, to get back to the hugging, to get back to the kissing, to get back to the love making, right? But the longer that you stay silent, the more distance that comes between you and your spouse, and that healing can't take place. The pain still stay there, so does the tension. It's all still wrapped up together. Another thing that apologizing does is that it actually tells you how important the relationship is to you and your spouse. It also tells you how important you are to your spouse when they actually can man up or woman up and say, you know what, say those two magic words that seem the hardest to say, but they need to be said. I'm sorry. Like, and it's not like, I'm sorry, or like, I already apologized, get over it. No. That never helps the situation. That never helps the conversation. That never helps the tension. It really starts a new argument. So like, if you telling me, well, I already apologized, so when you gonna get over it, or something like that, you have now started another argument. Be sincere when you apologize. When you say the two magic words, I'm sorry, be as sincere as possible so your spouse can take it in, so your spouse can actually feel what you're saying. Feel that you are, in fact, sorry. Sorry for what happened. Sorry for the part that you played in it. Sorry for, dragging it on for so long. Sorry for the way that you handled it. I'm sorry. All of that collectively comes together when you're saying I'm sorry, especially when you're saying it in a way, I can feel what you mean. I can feel what you're saying. I can feel that you truly mean those words. Saying I'm sorry and apologizing can be the toughest thing to do for some people. For some people, it's just easy. Like for me, it's easy. Let's get it over with. You know what? I actually seen the errors in my ways. Let's move forward. For some other people, it takes longer. But being in a relationship, y'all, timing is not always going to match up. And that can be frustrating. Yes, amen, somebody. That can be frustrating. When you feel like you have gone on, you've done what you needed to do, you said what you needed to say, or at least tried to, and it wasn't received well, that can be very frustrating. But don't give up on your spouse. Don't give up on your relationship, especially if it's something so minute. And another thing that I want to bring to the table is a lot of times breakups happen. We think that it's just that one thing or that last thing, but that's actually not the truth. The truth of the matter is we break up because we let so many things build up. And when we did say, I forgave you for doing X, we really didn't forgive you. Or we let all this stuff build up and we never had conversations about them in the beginning. And so now we have this little thing, and then that little thing, and that little thing, 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 that little thing. Before you know it, you're like, I'm out of here, storming out. It's because you never rectify all of those little things in between. And so now the last thing that happened really was the straw that broke the camel's back. It wasn't that one thing. It was all those things that you just let build and build and build and build, and you really never forgave your spouse for. And now you're just like, I can't take it anymore. He's so selfish. She's so selfish. She don't love me. He don't love me. Why am I still here? Why am I still putting up with this stuff? Why am I so stupid? Why I keep going through all of this? It's all because of those little things. Building. And all of a sudden now the molehill became a mountain. And you like, that's for somebody else. We have to figure out when we saying I'm sorry. And when we're saying I'm sorry, we really have to really mean those words. But as the person that's receiving the apology, you really have to know that, you know what? I'm actually going to forgive my spouse for this thing and not bring it up anymore. Because a lot of times when I'm talking to people, a lot of times when I'm talking to clients, I hear them all the time. They're repeating and reliving, bringing up the same story over and over and over again. That one story, those two stories that you claim that you have forgiven your spouse for, but you really never did. And so instead of lying about forgiving your spouse, how about you say, you know what, I'm actually not over it right now. I know that I'm going to have more questions later on. Can we come back to it? Because I am going to need to come back to this and talk about it. Instead of in that moment saying, you know what, I forgive you, and then harboring all of this resentment and just hatred, actually. And after a while, that stuff, that muck that's stuck on you, at some point you're like, I got to get this shit off me. I got to get it off me. And that's when you say, deuces, and the relationship is over with. Apologizing opens the door for forgiveness to actually be received. Again, I just brought up a whole bunch of examples, but a lot of times we are not truly forgiving the person. So if you are saying, I forgive you, after the person has said, I'm sorry, then you have to really mean that you have forgiven that person, so you do not ever, 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 ever bring it up again. Lastly, apologizing brings about humility. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to realize that when we apologize, we have to sincerely mean it. We have to, when we say that we are apologizing for something, we also have to say, number one, that we mean it, but we also have to stop repeating the same behavior over and over and over again, and expecting our spouse to continue to forgive us for the same crime. I am your girl, MarshaunO. Thank you guys for listening. If you need help with your relationship, look down in the description box below. Send me an email to my email address so we can talk about how I can help you to go to the next level with repairing your relationship, but also going to the next level so you can create and live that happy, go lucky, blissful relationship. You have the power to create the life that you want to live. One day, one step, listen, what is it going to take for you to say, you know what, enough is enough. I have tried everything that I have been able to try. It is not working out. And now it is time for you to take that next step to work with someone, specifically me, because you're here watching this video. And if you watched it this long, you need this information. Send me an email, reach out. Let's talk about setting up a one-on-one coaching session with each other, and that way we can see if I can help you that day, and if we need to move further into helping you solve the issues and the problems that you continuously go through in your relationship. What are you willing to do to make the beginning of 2020 the best year, the best start of your new life? Because literally it is the end. This is the last quarter in 2019. But even bigger than that, this is the last quarter in this century. It's bigger than that. And do you want to start the next century living the same type of relationship that you are living? If not, reach out. Let's talk. Let's set up that conversation. Let's set up that coaching call so you can create the relationship that you so want, need, and desire. I will talk to you guys soon.